Now, your weekly dose of inspiration, perspiration, and just the right amount of bull defecation. The Get You Some Radio Show with your host, the Vice President of Making Shit Happen, Terry Lancaster.
Greetings and salutations, everyone. Welcome back to the Get You Some Radio Show, and I am your host, Terry Lancaster. Welcome aboard for episode 15. And man, what a week it has been. If you're playing along, if you're following along with your programs and your playbooks open at home, you know that Saturday was my 1,000th day in a row that I've ran at least a mile. So that was a pretty big accomplishment for me. Pretty excited about that. But even more excited about what happened last Wednesday. Last Wednesday, we released the new book, Unstuck, 10 Proven Strategies for Breaking Through the Barriers to Small Business Growth. And I wrote this book with 10 co-authors. There were 10 of us involved, and we released the book on Wednesday. And on Wednesday, we shot up to number one in two separate Amazon sales categories. We had the Kindle and the paperback, and they were both top sellers in their category. And among all business books on Amazon, we were one of the top new releases. So if you went to the new release page on Amazon, right there on the front page of the top 20, and you got people like Simon Sinek, Brandon Burchard, Gretchen Rubin. We're talking the big names of the publishing industry, and there was our little book from the Unstuck Business Academy right there with them. Unstuck, 10 Proven Strategies for Breaking Through the Barriers to Small Business Growth. If you ended up buying a copy of that, thank you so much. I appreciate it, honestly, from the bottom of my heart. If you haven't bought a copy, they're still available on Amazon, and right now they're only 99 cents. So click on over there, type my name, Terry Lancaster, type Unstuck. You can find it from there. Get you one of those. And if you have read it, please leave us a review because we appreciate that. But the whole book, the number one bestseller, came about because of a man named Thom Coats. Thom is my guest on the show today. Now, just about a year ago, I got a phone call from Thom, and he invited me to come speak at a little sales conference he was putting on. And I said, sure, I'll go, whatever. I didn't think anything about it. And I called my wife and said, hey, I'm going to be at the sales conference in March. I think we're going to do it at the Brentwood Library. Wasn't really thinking it was kind of be a big deal. It was some local speakers and people who spoke on marketing and business. And we were going to speak at the Brentwood Library. Maybe 100 people would be there or something. Then we go on and we start planning the event and working it out. And we ended up partnering with Scott Hamilton and the Scott Hamilton Cares Foundation, which provides fundraising for cancer survivors and people who are fighting cancer. And we partnered with Scott to raise money for his charity. And Scott agreed to come on as the keynote speaker. So now all of a sudden we've got this little conference, and Scott Hamilton, the Olympic champion, is going to be the keynote speaker, and we're raising money for his foundation. And since now it's kind of a bigger deal, we need a bigger venue, and we ended up booking in at the Bridgestone Arena here in Nashville, where if you've been following along, you know the Nashville Predators play, and we went to the Stanley Cup Finals in June of this year. But in March of this year, I spoke at a conference at Bridgestone. Now, I tell everyone this, and they think, you spoke at Bridgestone, and they thought I got lasers and lights and fog machine. I didn't speak in the main arena at Bridgestone. They got conference rooms and everything in there, but it still sounded pretty cool. We're speaking at Bridgestone Arena. I spoke at one of the conference rooms in Bridgestone Arena. So this event's kind of snowballed. It took on a life of its own, and it goes from speaking at the library to speaking at Bridgestone, and Scott Hamilton is involved in there. We got a little publicity out of it, raised some money for Scott and his foundation, and we decided there that we were going to put the information that we shared in the conference into book form. So each one of the 10 speakers contributed one chapter in their area of expertise. We put the book together, and that released last Wednesday. Unstuck, 10 Proven Strategies for Breaking Through the Barriers to Small Business Growth. Thom Coats. It was like rounding up cats. It was like herding cats. Thom had to get everybody involved and everybody on the same page, and kind of, you got speakers and authors, and kind of got a little ego thing there. So everyone, he was just he herded everyone into getting this thing put together, and I give him great props for putting that together. And he was one of the speakers there. And Thom, he's one of the best speakers I've seen, because Thom is the most authentic human being I think I've ever met. He's just Thom. And he's a good old Mississippi boy, country boy. He talks the talk, and he just tells it like it is, and he just kind of oozes Southern charm. He's a great storyteller, but he's oozing Southern charm and oozing Mississippi charisma while he's talking about some high tech stuff. Thom is he's a salesperson, and he's the sales manager for a local company that works with high tech. He works with Microsoft software, and communicating that. The truth is, it's high tech. It's above my pay grade. I don't know exactly what it is he does, but he works with Microsoft, and he works with businesses to get them and their software communicating and where they're on the same page. So he's a high tech, high level sales engineer with a Southern drawl. And what he ended up talking about and what he wrote about in the book is how technology has shaped and shifted our life, but it is sucking and draining so much of our time away. Now, how much time do you spend staring at a screen every day, whether you're at work fighting your email, or whether you're on your phone playing on Facebook? We just kind of get sucked in, and this technology, it affects our brain in the same way heroin does. We become addicted to the immediate response that we get from email, from the immediate response that we get from an Instagram post and a Facebook post, and people liking our pictures of our cats. And we like that. It's an interaction, and we get a little boost of dopamine, and we want to get more of that. So we just get sucked in and sucked in and sucked in. And these screens end up taking more and more and more of our life. Well, what Thom does, and what he wrote about in the book, is he helps you take back your life. He flips the script on the technology, and he shows you how you can use the exact same technology that is just sucking your life away. You can use that technology to bring back your life. There's tools, and there's hacks, and there's apps, and there's software that if you use those, and you use those with some intentionality, you can add hours to your life. Now, one of the programs he talks about is Boomerang. And this is one of the things I've been using for about a year now since I met Thom. And Boomerang is one of my favorite things in the world because everyone talks about inbox zero. This is kind of a thing where, at one point I had 10,000 emails in my in basket. Because I would just, and I had what I called a chronological filing system, which meant the old crap ended up at the bottom of the pile. But now, using Boomerang, when I go to bed almost every night, my inbox is clear. I have inbox zero. And so I know exactly everything is taken care of. And the next day, my email box starts repopulating, and I take care of stuff as it comes along, so it never becomes this 10,000 message overwhelming monster. Because when you look at these 10,000 messages, you can't concentrate. They just consume your brain, and it gets to be so big that you don't know where to start whittling, which part of the elephant to bite at one time. So Boomerang is one of the things Thom's going to talk about, and it's one of the things that I use. But he has so many more. He told me once, read the book. There's one in there about a parking app that you can use. In downtown Nashville, parking is this enormous problem. You have to drive around for hours looking for parking to go to any event. But he found an app that lets you get on your phone, click a button, and you have a parking spot reserved, and you just show up. You don't even have to go pay for it. You don't have to give $10 to the shady-looking guy in the orange vest as you go in. You just go, you park, you clip your app. He's got a million tricks and a million hacks like that. And if you don't know Thom, you need to know Thom. But stick around. We're going to talk to Thom Coats. And if you're not a subscriber yet to the Get You Some radio show, be sure and subscribe, because this week's Subscriber of the Week is going to take home a copy of Unstuck, the brand new #1 bestseller. Thanks, y'all. Back with Thom Coats right after this.
Being the boss is fun. Taking your ideas, turning them into something new, and watching it grow. Oh, it's a lot of work. But it's a lot of fun, until it's not. Most businesses reach a point where good ideas, common sense, and hard work just aren't enough anymore. They get stuck. Now, it's time to get unstuck. Unstuck 10 proven strategies for breaking through the barriers to small business growth. Get your copy today and get unstuck.
Greetings and salutations. Welcome back to the Get You Some radio show. I am your host, Terry Lancaster, and today's guest is my main man, Mr. Thom Coats. And Thom has wandered the highways and byways of America, selling this thing, selling that thing, selling the other thing. He's been there, done that, and he's got the scars to prove it. Thom, how you doing, buddy?
Fantastic. How about you?
I am also fantastic. Now, Thom's got a new book out. He's the co-author of one of the co-authors of the book that I'm also a co-author on. It's called Unstuck: 10 Proven Strategies for Breaking Through the Barriers to Small Business Growth. So, Thom, tell us a little bit about you. How did you get to be a small business expert? How did you make it from middle of nowhere, Mississippi, to selling high-tech software in Nashville, Tennessee?
So I grew up in South Mississippi. It's basically so far out into the country to where we would have to go toward town to hunt. I mean, it was country. And I grew up in a small business. Dad operated a small business. My grandfather had the business before him. And so when you're in that environment, you fully understand the fact that small business guys never miss an opportunity to worry. They worry about making money, saving money, being more efficient, and staying out of the view of the government, because the government messes up everything. And so that's the environment that I grew up in. And you know, when your family has signed the front of a check rather than only endorsing the back, there's a big difference. There's a mindset to that. So that's the environment I grew up in. First generation to graduate from college.
Yeah.
My wife and I both graduated from Mississippi State University.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, go dog. It's a wonderful place. It's family. That's the way it is.
Yeah.
But the neat thing about that is Judy and I, we fell in love. We went down to Natchez, Mississippi, and our career path was just set in gold. We thought everything was going great. Got down there, hated the town. And so I took the first job that got us back home to Starkville, Mississippi, and that was a police officer's job.
Yeah.
So for 6 years, I was a cop in Starkville, Mississippi. On the SWAT team, I was the crime prevention officer, a street cop. It was the best training for a sales guy in the world.
Really? Now, I've ever heard that. Being a cop is great sales training.
Absolutely. Because I convinced people to let me put handcuffs on them and put them in my car without having to beat them up.
Yeah. All right.
Add sales.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So and also taught me that, you know, how to kind of see through the minutia that people kind of like to generate. Because, you know, everybody lies to a cop. Mm-hmm. So you can have an opportunity where you have a chance to learn all the various techniques that people do with lying to cops. It was great sales training. So it was wonderful. And so my first sales job after being a cop, I was a door-to-door membership sales for the National Federation of Independent Business. And so popping up, just cold calling, going right up to the business, going, hey, are you the business owner? And going through a prepared pitch, the whole 9 yards. And yeah, here I am, fresh off being a cop, just haven't always been fat middle age. I was just walking muscle then. And it was just incredible. And here this little bitty pencil neck business owner looked at me, and my knees quivered, my voice was shaking, and it was almost as bad as, hey, you don't want this, do you? It was awful.
The soft close.
Oh, yeah. The non-close. Like, no, run away. So I went back out, had one of these little self-motivational talks, you know.
Yeah.
You quit your other job. You got to make this one work. And from there, I set a record for that week. And within 6 months, I was promoted to regional trainer, and then soon after that, district sales manager.
Now, you've told me a story, and this is one of my all-time favorite business stories. I've actually mentioned it in an article, but you told me a story about how you motivated yourself to keep going down the road in Mississippi, because some days you didn't sell anything, and some days you sold a bunch, but you knew you needed to sell two, and to sell two, you needed to call on, like, was it 11 people you told me? Or 11 people before lunch and 11 people after lunch?
I would divide the day in half. And I knew that if I saw 11 people, got down and was able to talk to them by lunch, I could eat lunch and then make that one sale. And then in the afternoon, after lunch, do this all over again. So whereas everybody else had a 5-day work week, I had a 10-day work week.
Mm-hmm.
Because I put in as much work or more in that half day than most yahoos would do in a full day.
Now, how did you keep track of your half days, though? This is the part I love.
Yeah, the easy thing would be just to have a set of paperclip, and as you do a presentation, move the paperclip from one pocket to another.
Yeah.
And when that pocket was empty, you get to go have lunch. And lunch is important to me.
Yeah. That's motivation. You move 11 paper clips, you get to have lunch.
That's right.
So after the NFIB, where did you head off to? How'd you end up in Nashville selling software?
Well, the Federation actually moved me to Nashville because I was really good at training teams, fixing problems. My turnover rate on sales rep was just the lowest in the nation. And so by doing that, I made a great reputation for myself, but I also pigeonholed myself into be the fix-it guy. So every year, my division lines kept changing to where I kept taking other people's problems. And so the travel was always going on, and they said, hey, Coats, if you move here to corporate, you probably won't have to travel as much.
Right.
And it was a great effort and a wonderful organization. So I moved my family here, and we love Tennessee, and it's great decision for my boys. And but the travel kept going on, so ended up having to just say, hey, because I had 3 small boys at home, and it wasn't fair for Dad not to be there.
Right.
I was leaving out, Sunday after lunch and not getting back till Friday night.
Right.
That's no way to raise boys.
No.
And so I took a job here locally for a local company called Robert J. Young Company.
Oh, yeah.
And that's where I really learned how to do solution sales. Prior to that, it was just cold calling, and it was very much transactional.
Mm-hmm.
And so with I was selling the engineering, big, huge engineering printers and all. And so my favorite thing was to whiteboard with engineers.
Mm-hmm.
Go, hey, Mr. Engineer, let's draw this out. And hey, if it goes like this, and all of a sudden they go, oh, that makes great sense. And boom, I have a $60,000 sale.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you can whiteboard with an engineer, you are very good close to making. And so did that for several years. And then I started working for a company called Paychecks. I sold the PEO HR services,
Mm-hmm.
Solution-based selling, and very successful with that. They have this President's Club which they called Circle. So I made Circle every year except one, and I was there almost a decade. And then they have a bonus above that, and I did that half the time. So got to go to Hawaii a few times, California, the Bahamas. That was kind of cool.
Yeah.
So did that. I was recruited away from that by a competitor. And then Journey Team came to me, and my software consulting company came and go, hey, we're looking for a guy with a huge network that knows how to do solution sales, well respected, that can put our name on the map here in Middle Tennessee, and get us at the table with the bigger mid-market or large companies. And so I could do that, but I'm happy where I am. And they said, well, let's see if we can make you not as happy. So they kind of talked a little bit more, and I've been doing this for 3 years.
Wow. And you've taken the software solutions, and we did this with the Unstuck conference in Nashville, and you included in your chapter in the book. You started helping people use software basically to turn themselves into superheroes, to use the power of software to maximize and amplify your own personal productivity.
Absolutely. The technology, if you let it, will take your life away. When I was young, at the end of the day, the job was over. But today, I have this smart device that goes home with me. Now, I don't know how smart I am that I take this thing home with me and respond to emails and do all this other stuff. So I have technology, and now the concept of a work week does not exist. The concept of family life balance, that's gone. So, and we all let this happen to ourselves. So let's use that same technology, leverage that, and take our life back. And if I can give you 2 weeks back into your life, 2 weeks back into your life by using just a handful of free tools that you already have on your smartphone or can download, and I think you'll be a superhero. You can either reinvest that back in your job, or you can reinvest that back in your family.
Yeah. So what are some of the, I promise everyone who listens to my show that they're going to get one action step, one thing that they can start doing today as soon as they sign off. But Thom, you don't have one action step. How many do you have? You got a 10, a cheat sheet.
Well, it's true. And so here's one. There's this neat little thing. It's free. You can add it if you use Microsoft email, or if you use Google Gmail, either one, it works with both, and it's called Boomerang. So if your job requires you to email people and set appointments with them, you need to follow up on these things, download Boomerang. It's the easiest thing in the world. And it allows you to do a handful of things. Obviously, one thing, it allows you to have a receipt when people open it up. That's the second thing is it allows you to schedule that email to go out at another time. So you could delay the transmission of it, which is pretty cool. But my favorite thing about it is it allows me to integrate with my calendar. And I'm asking Terry Lancaster for an appointment, then I could send this email to him, and he now has a view of my calendar of the times that I'm available to speak with Terry and meet with Terry. But it also shows all the other appointments, not by name, but that I'm busy at all these other times. And all you have to do as a recipient of this is just pick the time that works best for you. And that does two things. It stops the back and forth of, hey, none of those times work for me. Well, pick a time. It's probably going to work for you. And it also allows you to know, I'm busy, but I'm making time for you because I think you're important. So I like that aspect of it. But the way that it got its name is the Boomerang name is if Terry does not respond to that email within whatever time allotment that I ask it to, 24 hours, 48 hours a week, whatever I tell it, then it boomerangs back to the top of my queue in my email stack. So it shows, hey, Terry never answered that. So now I have the opportunity to reach back out to Terry and go, hey, I sent you this email.
Yeah.
Instead of me trying to remember, now, did I send that email or not? Because you and I have too much going on to try to go back in and dig through a stack of emails in your computer trying to figure out when you send an email or if you actually remember to do it. So let technology manage that part of it. You don't have time for that stuff. Because if you're not managing your email is managing you.
Yeah, absolutely. Email's running everything. And Boomerang is actually one of my favorite things. I use it constantly. And the main thing I use it for is exactly that, the Boomerang part. If I send a customer something, he says, hey, call me back next Tuesday about something. So I just click a button, and all of a sudden that email shows up again in my email basket next Tuesday, just like he just sent it. So it's an instant CRM system.
It truly is. It's just, and it shocks me that not everybody uses that every day.
Yeah.
Another one that I'll give you is called Microsoft Lens. Now, you don't have to use Microsoft products, and it's free. But if you ever have to, if you're in a lecture that you need to copy or take a picture of the slides that somebody's presenting, or if you ever have to take a picture of a whiteboard, what the Lens app will do for your smartphone, it cleans up the edges, justifies it to the right direction on your phone, makes it really sharp so that you could save it as a PDF. You can put it in OneNote, or you could save it as a picture, but it's not just like taking a picture. It's a scanned document, so you can scan in documents with it. You can take pictures of whiteboards and PowerPoint presentations, and you can also scan in business cards and add them to your contact list on your phone with that free app. Because the Evernote had the other app, but then they started charging money for it.
Right.
You had to have a premium package for the Evernote for that to work. Well, this one is still free, and it's right into your contacts, so it's very cool.
Microsoft Lens. I need to look into that because I'm constantly needing to scan stuff, and I don't always have a scanner or a fax machine. Every once in a while, you have someone, hey, can you fax me that? No, it's not 1996, but hang on, let me try to figure out some way to.
Don't have a mullet either. Yeah.
All right. So you have the book that has just come out, Unstuck: 10 Proven Strategies for Breaking Through the Barriers to Small Business Growth. Tell me about the Unstuck book.
All right, so the book, here we go. I brought this. Can you see this?
Oh, yeah, look at there.
All right, look at that.
Wait a second. Who's that handsome guy third down? That's what I want to know right there.
The third, I'm the fourth one.
My count was off.
Yeah. All right, yeah, your count was off. Anyway, so it's a what I did is with the Unstuck Conference, I put together this group. You're one of them, of just amazing people that had a great message. And so growing up in a small business, I know that what happens is that business owners and professionals, they get busy, they work really hard, they use common sense, and they get to a point where, boom, their growth pattern kind of levels off. And it looks a little bit like the Delta of Arkansas, flat.
Right.
So it's our effort to help them get unstuck. And so the conference that we did, and each person wrote a chapter of the book based on their presentation at the conference, was an effort to help people get unstuck. And so mine was on the leveraging technology. Mm-hmm. Yours on making sure Google you are who Google says you are. So let's make sure that you're putting the best foot forward there. Steve Woodruff was talking about the fact that clarity of the message. Mm-hmm. So how many business owners do you know just are incapable of articulating exactly what they do, because every time you talk to them, they're going down another rabbit hole. So that was a wonderful lesson to learn there. Steve Byington, another Steve, talked about cash flows for your company. Now, I know accounting is not the most exciting topic in the entire world.
Hang on, I fell asleep there for a second.
Yeah, exactly. But it's a crucial part. If you want to make money and grow your business, you need to have a concept of this process.
Yeah, cash flow is boring like oxygen. It's boring until you don't have any. So
exactly. Very good. Well said, sir. So, and then Juliana was talking about the channel marketing. Cindy was talking about HR, which is oh my goodness, people get terrified when they hear HR, but Cindy was able to actually make it entertaining and something that you wanted to hear more about. And then Kayla Barrett was talking about change, and it was amazing. So we put together a group of just some awesome folks. Craig Paxson about how to make decisions, and then Jim Bob Howard about being collaborative. It was amazing. So
it was a great experience for me. So I want to thank you again for putting that together and getting this all out. So the book is available now. It's available on Amazon. You can buy it in paperback and you can buy it in ebook. And we can and you'll be around Nashville hanging them out like popcorn and candy, I am sure. Absolutely. And one more thing before you let me go is we had some amazing sponsors that wanted to participate in the effort. God, I love, for instance, like Pilgrim Consulting was a big backer of ours, and so was Print Intelligence. Kimball Boswell, she and her team were wonderful. And then catering by Suzette, who is the best caterer in all of Middle Tennessee. These guys really stepped it up because they wanted to participate in this,
because what the conference, although it was targeted to the professional and the small business owner, that helping to bring them, uncommon wisdom to go with their hard work, we knew that you're to get, well, quite frankly, to get their attention, you had to charge them money, because nothing free is worth it. We all know this, right? So we had to charge them money. So we charged them $100 to show up for this conference. But then we turned around and gave that money to the Scott Hamilton Cares Foundation to help fight cancer.
Yeah.
And so our sponsors and our speakers and our attendees, everybody that was part of it, had the privilege of meeting Scott Hamilton and hearing a few words from him about what he has going on. So all total, it was, and he actually also wrote the foreword to the book that just came out. So all total, it was just an amazing event, and we're looking forward to next year.
Well, so you got that coming up. So you constantly have I don't know how you're more than an octopus, because you have more than 8 irons in the fire. You got the Unstuck Conference coming out. You just started Tribe Builders here in Nashville, where you're networking and meeting with folks. Tell everyone about Tribe Builders. Yeah,
Tribe Builders. We do several of these a month. 2 to 3 of them a month. One's up at the EC. It's a lunch. Another one is down here at the factory in Franklin. And the new one is out in Murfreesboro. And the Franklin and the Murfreesboro are both breakfast. But it's what happens there is I'm convicted in the belief that if I believe in you, then I will refer to you. But so passing out business cards and all in elevator pitches, that's really nice. But if I peek into your heart a little bit, then you're part of my tribe, and I'll refer to you. And so at Tribe Builders, we have, we break bread together, and then we do 2 rounds at the event. The first round, everybody stands up, says, "Hey, I'm Thom Coats, and I work for this company." And then, but at each table of 6 people, you share why you do what you do with the attendees at that table. So each person has around 6 minutes to talk about their why, to share their heart. And the stories that I hear are amazing. And half of them have nothing to do with business. It's just who they are.
Yeah.
And that's so important for me to understand who you are. Regardless of what your business card says or your website, that's nice, but I want to know you. Yeah. And then we send everybody home, and then we send out a list of the attendees, and we ask them we break them up into groups of 3, which we call mini tribes, and we ask them to go have breakfast, coffee, lunch, something to continue that conversation and building those professional relationships. And I learned years ago that if by helping others achieve their goals, I never have to worry about my own.
Well, I tell you this, and this is where we'll end it. I've been doing the Get You Some radio show here for the last several months, and I started it purely for selfish reasons. I wanted to have interesting conversations with interesting people like yourself, and this is a great deal of fun for me. And I always ask everyone for one step. And everyone I talk to, successful business people, almost every conversation, eventually it comes back around to that point. In the words of Zig Ziglar, if you help enough other people get what they want, you'll get what you want. And and every single person that I've spoken to at some point when they're talking about their success and how they live their life, it comes down to that. So that is, if anything, that's the eternal truth of the Get You Some radio show.
Yeah, very good.
Tom, thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for everything you do. Tell everyone how they can get in touch with Tom if they need Tom. Is there like a bat signal you flash up to get your voice?
But it's hard to see with the sunshine that we have here in Middle Tennessee. So my email address is tacoats@thomcoats.com, or you can just hit the Tom with an HTHOM.COATS at JourneyTeam, JOURNEYTEAM.com.
All right.
Either one will get to me. And please hit me on LinkedIn. We'll go have coffee, because I'm a huge believer in coffee meetings. and because a lot of business happens at a coffee shop.
And look for the book on Amazon, Unstuck, 10 Proven Strategies for Breaking Through the Barriers to Small Growth. My man, Thom Coats. Thanks, Tom. Appreciate you, buddy. We'll see you next time.
Yes, sir. All right, bye.
The Get You Some Radio Show. Yum, yum, get you some. Get you some.
Thom Coats, my main man. Thank you, buddy. I appreciate you being on the show, and I appreciate you for watching, for listening, and for subscribing. Be sure and subscribe. Subscriber of the Week gets a copy of the Unstuck, the brand new #1 bestseller. If you're watching on my website, there's a button right up above my head. Click the big red button, or go to terrylancaster.tv and click the big red button there so you can be subscriber of the week and take home your very copy. And so you won't miss next week's episode. I have a great episode coming up for you next week, especially, this is for salespeople of any brand, whatever you sell, but especially for car salespeople. We're going to have a referral expert, Stacy Brown Randall, on the show next week. And Stacy's going to tell us how to get more referrals. But our #1 rule is never, ever, ever pay for referrals. So for all my friends in the car business, that means no bird dog fees. Find out why next week on the Get You Some Radio Show. I'll see you then.
Get You Some Radio. You've been listening to the Get You Some Radio Show. Subscribe today at terrylancaster.tv to hear more episodes, win valuable cash and prizes, and get free training to help you create an army of buyers who know, like, and trust you before they've ever even met you. It's a big, wide world, boys and girls. Get out there and get you some.